Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and it's finally time. It's finally time for a state of the collection video regarding my personal collection. So, when was the last time we did this? Well, I just looked that up and I think it was about 2 years ago. So, it's been quite a long time. It's been quite a long time since we last made a state of the collection video, and if you've been a subscriber of the channel for quite some time and you watched that video as it came out, I think about in August of 2018, well, it's all different. I don't have any of those watches that I had in that video anymore. And so, well, I've been wanting to make a state of the collection video for quite some time, but you know, I was a serial flipper. I was changing watches all the time, and I thought that there would be no point at all in making a state of the collection video if the watches are just going to be flipped, you know, a month later. But now I have a different mindset. My goal now is basically to just buy keeper watches. I don't want to buy a watch that I will then sell, you know, 2 weeks later. And so basically every watch that you see here, it's a keeper, and there's a reason as to why it is a keeper. I'm going to go over my collection with you guys. This might turn out to be quite a long video, so sit back, relax, grab something to drink, and let's just hang out and talk watches. And I will be beginning with the watches that I wear the least, moving up to the watches that I wear the most. So let's begin with this very patinaed Omega watch. Now I don't remember the reference of this just like that, so I will just put a text here showing you what the reference of this watch is. But this watch is special to me. And why is that? Well, because it was my grandfather's watch. My mom's dad was his watch, and it was one of his watches. And this was one of his earlier watches. This is from the 50s, from the late 50s. So yeah, it's a very, very old watch. And mechanically, it's in fantastic shape. I just had this serviced by a watchmaker last year, and he told me that the watch is running fantastically. The movement, which is the caliber 410, and I will show you a picture of the movement, this movement specifically right now, and he told me that it's in perfect shape. Now you might be wondering, so why is the movement in perfect shape while the dial is not? Well, I don't know exactly, but I do have a theory as to why that may be. And that's because, well, I found this watch last year in a drawer, and it was in a plastic bag, and it did not have a crystal on the watch. So presumably the crystal had been cracked previously by my grandfather, and he did not bother to repair the watch. And so he just placed it in a plastic bag. There might have been some moisture in that bag. The watch had no crystal. And, well, I guess the dial just sort of patinaed on itself. It's got all OEM spare parts. So what the watchmaker had to replace is he had to, of course, put a new Omega crystal on it. And he also had to, you know, of course, service the movement. And then he also did fix the crown mechanism because that was also broken. But yeah, it's a fantastic watch. I do actually wear it sometimes. Yeah, I love it. It's about 33.5 millimeters in diameter. And as I said before, the caliber 410 movement. And yeah, my grandfather's watch, or one of them. And here we have another of my grandfather's watches, or well, these two, they are the two watches that he had, or that was left. So this watch I found, or my mom found in her bank safe. She had basically forgot that she had it in there, and when she found it, she told me, and she gave it to me. So what is it? Well, it's an 18 karat gold Eterna quartz watch from, I think, the 80s. This watch my grandfather got as a gift, or well, not really a gift, but as an award, I guess you could say. Here in Sweden, when you have worked for the government, some sort of government agency, for at least 25 years and done a good job of it, you might be awarded this medal, which is on the back of this watch. And if you are awarded that medal, you get to choose if you want to just get, a gold medal, or if you want a watch. And so, well, obviously my grandfather, he chose to get the watch with the engraving on the back. And it's in great shape. He clearly did not wear this watch a lot. How often do I wear this watch? Well, not a lot again, but I did wear it to my high school graduation, and I usually wear it to Christmas or New Year's Eve or something like that. It's sort of become my dress watch. And next up, for the vintage watches, I have this Alma Sport, which has no sort of sentimental value. I just bought this watch myself because I think it looks so super duper cool. It's most definitely from the 70s, and as you can see, it runs. It does not run great, but it runs. The case is in quite good shape. It's got that 70s vibe to it, and the dial has a very cool textured pattern on it with those blue accents on the hour markers and the hands. And it's just a super duper cool watch. So yeah, next up. Now do remember that I'm going from the least worn watches to the most worn watches. So now we have a Seiko. This is not that special of a watch really. As you can see, it's been quite used and beat up. This was my dad's watch. Then when he bought a new watch, he gave this watch to my brother. And then when my brother moved from Sweden to the US, he left this watch behind, and well, now it's my watch. So it's been used by my dad, and it's been used by my brother, and now it gets used by me basically every now and then. It's not that special of a watch, but it is quite a good looking watch, and it has that Seiko mecha quartz thingy going on, as you can see there. I do quite like this watch. It has a very cool dial. It's not the highest quality watch in the world, but it's comfortable. It does the job just fine, and yeah, and there it is on my wrist. Now let's move on to the next watch. This watch, I'm sure you have never heard of this brand before, unless you live in Sweden. It's a Swedish watch brand, but made in Asia, probably in China, probably. It's not that special watch again, but it's a keeper to me because I won this watch when I was younger in a swimming competition. So basically the watch company here, Gul, they sponsored the competition. They sponsored the swimming meet, and they gave out watches to people finishing first in their age group and their distance. And yeah, so I swam a distance. I don't remember what it was, but it's probably 100 meters of breaststroke, because that was my best one basically. And this was probably in 2013, 14. And so yeah, I finished first, and they called me out on the speakers and told me to go to a specific place and pick up my gift. And this was the gift. And back then I was definitely not into watches, and I thought that this was the worst looking watch that I had ever seen. I was so close to even giving it to one of my swimming friends, but well, in the end I didn't, and I found it just a couple of weeks ago in my garage, and I had the battery changed on it, and yeah, it runs perfectly. It's a Japanese quartz movement. Yeah, basically I am only keeping it because it has somewhat of a sentimental value to me, going back to the days when I was a swimmer. So, next watch. You have probably seen this watch if you are a follower of the channel. This is my Certina DS First ceramic chronograph. It's a quartz chronograph watch. It's got 200 meters of water resistance. It's got a ceramic bezel, a very good bezel actually, with 120 clicks. As I said before, 200 meters of water resistance. And the quartz movement that's ticking along inside of this guy is one of the best ETA quartz movements that you could find at the time that this watch was made. It's the, I think it's a well, I don't remember the name, but I'll just put it up here as text. It's a 27 joule quartz movement. And that's pretty impressive given the fact that this is a quartz movement. Now sure, the joule count don't actually mean that much. It's just on paper, but it does show you that they have put some care and some thought into this movement. And yeah, it's one of my favorite quartz movements of all time. Now they did replace this movement with a revised version, which is basically the same movement, just that the new movement is thermocompensated. So basically, if there's anything wrong with this watch movement in the future, well, I could just replace it with the new one and get that thermocompensated accuracy, giving you basically plus or minus 10 seconds per year. So yeah, very cool. And also a cool thing, it does have the minutes counter for the chronograph right here, as you can see. Bam. Very, very quick and easy to read. And yeah, I definitely don't wear this watch as much as I should. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be putting on this watch more in the future. It's about a 41 or 42, I think. And it looks like this on my wrist. So yeah, let's move on to the next watch. So yeah, this is my one and only G-Shock. I've had quite a lot of G-Shocks in the past, but I have decided to settle on just having one square G-Shock, and this is my favorite. It's the all black and all metal G-Shock with the reference number G, I think it's like GMW B5000. It's got the tough solar, it's got multi-band 6 and Bluetooth and all that, and of course it originally comes on a full metal bracelet, but I have put it on this G-Shock original rubber strap. And this is the watch that I will be wearing during my time in the military now. I'm going in on the 14th of September to take my education, my practical education, I guess you could say, in the military here in Sweden. And what watch is better to use there than a G-Shock, right? This is my Seiko King Turtle. This is the watch that I featured in my previous video doing the Cyclops surgery, the Cyclops removal. And I got a lot of negative feedback telling me that I'm destroying the watch. And sure, that may be, but the watch is running perfectly. It's running at around plus 5 seconds per day, which for a Seiko is just amazing. The Cyclops is gone, which I love. And I have tested this in the pool. I've tested it in the sea. And I've even showered with this watch. No problems whatsoever. So yeah, this is a fantastic watch, really. It's probably the best turtle around that doesn't cost like $4,000. And I've put it on this isofrane style rubber strap. It's green, from Borealis. yeah, all around it's just a very cool looking watch. It's got that ceramic bezel and that nice texture on the dial, and in combination with those gold accents on the dial and this green rubber strap, I think it looks fantastic. This is most likely also a keeper, partly because I like the watch a lot, but partly also because the warranty is probably voided and I would probably not sell this watch to anyone, given the fact that I did remove the Cyclops with a lot of heat. But yeah, a keeper in my collection. It's a fantastic watch. I love it. Now let's move on. Now moving on to this watch, which you probably haven't seen because I haven't made a video on it yet. But this is a vintage Squale, reference 1515 medium. So it's a medium-sized diving watch from Squale, probably from the 70s, probably between the 70s and the 80s. It's a quartz watch, as you can see. It's about 34 millimeters in diameter, so it's a small diving watch. It's in great shape, as you can see. I just love this watch a lot. It's a super duper cool diving watch. Of course, I would never take this in the water because it most likely is not water resistant anymore. But that dial is just super duper cool, especially in combination with that orange minutes hand, and of course this super duper cool bezel. Yeah, it's a really cool watch. And then it's most likely also all original because, as you can see, the patina on the lume is just right. It's very even. And now let's put it on the wrist and I'll show you how it wears. And there you go. There it is on my wrist. It's a super duper cool watch. Sure, it's quite a small watch, but that's just part of the charm with this watch because, you know, it just looks so cool, right? That dial is just amazing. So yes, definitely also a keeper. Now, moving on to the next watch, also a Squale. You have probably seen this watch on the channel before. This is the 1521 50 Atmos, 500 meters of water resistance. I wear this watch a lot. It's one of the watches that I wear the most, and it's just a fantastic watch. It has the ETA 2824, so it's a robust movement, and mine performs quite well. It's got that fully luminous dial, which is super duper cool. It's got that Squale 1521 legendary case, which is just a beautiful case. Great bezel action, great watch overall, a great fit on my wrist as well. It looks great, as you can see there. And yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite watches, and one that I will also keep. So yeah, it's a keeper watch. Now, moving on to the watch that I wear the most. Now, do keep in mind that I have two more watches after this, but those watches I don't wear at all, and so I'll just show you them last. Now, this is the watch that I do wear the most, and if you are a follower of the channel, you would have probably seen the videos that I made of this last year. And it's my birth year watch. Well, not my birth year watch, but it's my birthday watch that I saved up for and that I got for myself for my 18th birthday. It's a Tudor Glamour Date Day, and it's got the bracelet. I usually wear it on a leather strap, and I'll show you how that looks right here. I'll just pop up a picture of it. Looks fantastic in my opinion. It's a great all-around watch. 100 meters of water resistance, ETA movement, great performer, nice functions there with the date and the day, a nice size at 39. Just overall a really high quality watch from Tudor, which is one of my favorite brands. So yes, this is the watch that I wear the most, and it's definitely a keeper watch. I will never sell this watch. And that's what it looks like on my 19.5 centimeter wrist. It's a great fit, very comfortable, and it's a very, very underrated watch from Tudor. So now let's move over to the two last watches that we have that I do not wear at all, but are still keepers. And they're both Swatches. Bet you didn't see that coming. I've never made a video on a Swatch before, but here we go. This watch, why do I have it? And why do I never wear it, but why did I purchase it just recently anyway? Well, because this watch, not this specific watch, but this watch reference was my first watch ever. My dad got this watch for me at the Copenhagen airport when we were going on vacation. And well, at the time I was not that much into watches. And well, eventually this watch got lost. I have no idea where the watch is today. But I saw that they were probably going to discontinue this watch reference, and therefore I had to just pick one up because I want to have one. It was my first watch ever. Well, I'm a huge watch guy now, so that means a lot to me, and so I picked it up just a couple of months ago. And yeah, well, I don't really intend on wearing this watch all that much, but it's cool to have because this was my first watch. All right, moving on to the next swatch. Now this is a recent swatch. This is the Tokyo 2020 edition. So it got a very cool design. It's 34 millimeters in diameter. Tokyo 2020 Olympics. So why did I purchase this and why was it a keeper? Well, it's a pretty weird reason, but basically when I was buying the other Swatch, and I thought it would be a nice thing to purchase this and have it say 2020 on the watch, because 2020 is a pretty weird year for most of us. It's been a mixed bag, really, for me, what with the pandemic and all that, but also I did graduate this year, and I'm going to start my journey in the Swedish Army this year. So there's a lot going on this year, and I thought that I'll just purchase a Swatch to remind me of 2020. It just also happens to say Tokyo on the watch strap, but there's nothing wrong with that. I love Tokyo. It's a great town. So those are my watches. Now let's just put them all together into one shot. Let's see if I can do that, and we'll end the video there. And so there we go. That was the state of the collection for 2020. So please feel free to leave any comments down below regarding what you think of my collection. In terms of goals for the future, I want to buy a really, really nice watch in the future. So I'm probably not going to be purchasing any more watches until then. So I'm just going to have to save up money for quite some time, maybe 2 years. I would like to purchase my first Rolex. I'm probably going vintage. I love those old, the reference 14010 and the 15010 and the 15210. They are 34 millimeter watches. I just love the look of those watches. I would love to get myself one of those. And if not, and I want to buy a modern Rolex, I think, my favorite modern Rolex is the Oyster Perpetual 36, the blue dial with the 3, 6, and 9 markers. And they are available and you don't have to pay over list, which is fantastic. And it's a great watch. But that's going to be quite a long time before we get there, because they're quite expensive watches and I'm going to have to save up for maybe like 2 years. But that's totally fine. The hunt is just as much fun as buying the watch, really, as most of you guys know, or the saving up period is a lot of fun, seeing the funds go up on the account and then basically eventually having enough to go into that AD and pick up a fantastic watch. It's gonna be great. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I know it was quite a long video, but well, I wanted to go quite in depth with all of my watches and why I have them. So I hope you enjoyed that. So yeah, like and subscribe and tell me what you think of my collection in the comment section down below. And I'll see you in my future videos. Have a great day and stay safe, everybody. Bye bye.